Hey, what's up, my wonderful people? It's your girl Maze here. I'm on my way to my doctor's appointment. I think it's called Maternal Fetal Medicine. Because of my age, I'm considered geriatric pregnancy. Yeah, make you sound like you're super old when you're not. But like I stated on my earlier video, I will be 41 in July. So I believe they consider anything over 35 as a geriatric pregnancy, high risk. So my mom's gonna meet me there. I went ahead and let hubby work, as long as he make it to the actual fertility like clinic appointments, I'm cool with that. But some appointments is just, some personal one-on-one things, some things that I need to do that he don't, some things that he need to do that I don't. So my mom's gonna come with me because I know she wanna be a big part of it. And so I'm not too far from the appointment. I'm trying to get it in my head because I would like to record inside. That's still my bashful shyness. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to muster up the courage to, ask the doctor, is it all right if I record? And damn, I forgot my freaking little mini tripod. But anywho, I'm pretty sure that if I do get the courage to, record inside my appointment, then I'm pretty sure I can figure out a way to, get it propped up or whatnot, or, just information. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but my intention is to record. If I don't record on the inside, I definitely will, give an update and a brief explanation on what all went on in the appointment. But yeah, let's see how this goes. So stay tuned. I'll be back. All right, we are here. Tennessee Maternal Fetal Medicine. We'll go in here and see how this appointment goes. I'm trying to debate if I'm gonna record or not, but we'll see how it goes. All right, what's up, guys? I finally made it home from my doctor's appointment. Yeah, I went ahead and got comfortable. Let me see, what time is it? Okay, I went ahead and got comfortable and go ahead and got changed and getting in my bed so I can take me another nap for work tonight. Gotta work tonight, gotta be there. I mean, I could be there as late as 10:30, but that puts me on getting off later Saturday morning. So the last few nights, lady, go lay down. My little brat over here snooping. But anywho, yeah, the last few nights I've been going in about 8. Yeah, about 8, and been getting off at a decent time the next day. So that's what I'm pushing for. But anywho, so where my note? My note, there you go. Took down a few notes. Okay, so had my appointment today with the, what was it? The maternal fetal medicine, which in my case, I guess it may be just what they do, I guess. Excuse me, is to specialize and monitor high risk women for pregnancy, particularly age, because like I stated, I'll be 41 at the end of July this year. So, that already puts me up for higher risk pregnancy, geriatric pregnancy. Man, hearing that, it makes me feel like I'm, in my 60s. And then, of course, I have high blood pressure and asthma. So, anyway, we'll get to that in a second. So, okay. So, my mom's went with me to my appointment. She finally get there. I got her attention, kept blowing the horn. She's looking at her phone. My mom was a trip. I love that woman. But, so, we talking or whatnot, see the time, let's go ahead and get in here, get checked in, go up there, getting checked in. At first, the lady had a slight issue with, hold on, my mouth is dry. had a slight issue with finding me. She asked last name, gave her the last name, and she was like, "What's your date of birth?" So I gave her the date of birth, and I'm looking at her facial expression like, don't tell me that there's a mistake. So she looked at me and she was like, your appointment. And I thought she was about to tell me that my appointment was changed or delayed, or it was actually this day, or, something like that. So I'm like, waiting to hear what she's saying. So she's like, your appointment is actually a video call. I was like, are you serious? She was like, yeah. I said, man, they didn't tell me that. And as I'm checking in, I had it pulled up on their website, on the patient portal. So if she needed the doctor's name, so I already had it pulled up on my phone looking. And I'm like, what? So, I wasn't tripping. People make mistakes, And so she apologized. And I was like, no, they didn't even tell me that. And I told her what happened. Because after our appointment April 2nd at the fertility clinic, our doctor did say that, what she was going to send us and refer us and send us this and send us that and, so on and so forth. So I'm all right, cool. So honestly, I didn't even talk to anyone. Like, I didn't even talk to anyone about the schedule. I didn't even help make the schedule or, hey, is this date, what date or day of the week and what time work. I didn't do none of that. How you normally would do when you're setting a schedule. I hope I turned my headset off. Okay, I think I set it off. Okay, so I told her, I was like, honestly, I knew that I was gonna have the appointment made, but I didn't know nothing about the appointment until I seen it pop up in my email and in my notification on my phone or whatnot. How you pull that top, my phone pull that top bar and all your notification. And I said, good thing I pay attention to it because I wouldn't have known, especially to have let my job know to, that, I need my second room covered so I'm not working late and can make this appointment. So she's like, okay, she said, what I can do is you can go ahead and fill out the information. Okay. So she's like, you can go ahead and fill out, your registration packet or whatever. And I can get you, registered and logged in. And then once I, check your ID and your insurance card and get you in the system, that'll pretty much be you signing in and you just wait for the phone call or whatnot. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I sit down, me and my mom sit down, and I'm multitasking as I do. I'm not the best multitasker that I once used to be, but damn it, I still be on it. So I'm sitting up there filling out, the forms and stuff and talking with my mom. And, she asked me a question. My mom, she's like, oh, let me stop. Let me stop talking to you while you can focus. I said, Mom, you see I'm still doing it and talking to you. So anywho, so get through the paperwork. Go give the lady the papers, and she gets me, signed in and all that. So we go sit out in the car. It's nice outside. It's forecast for a little bit of rain, but it didn't rain yet. So we sit in the car. So I get the video link to my text message, and I click on it, and I had my headset on. I don't even know I even had my headset on to think about it, because the whole point I wanted my mother to go with me is, one, for support, and two, so she can help obtain the information given to me. And 2 ears and all that is always better. Well, I'm sorry, 4 ears is always better than 2. She may hear something that I didn't catch, or she may have a question that so my mom's been to a couple points with me, throughout my lifetime. So I don't know why I even had it on my headset, come to think about it, but I'm just so used to kind of being in my own little world. So anywho, so, we on trying to do the video call, and I see her mouth moving. I'm like, I can't hear you, and, stuff. And so I cut my earpiece off, and it kind of try to come in. So she texts me through the little video app and was like, do you want me to call your phone? I knew she could hear me, but I couldn't hear her. So I'm like, Yeah, call my phone. So we disconnect. And so she called. And so we on the phone. And at this point, yeah, I did put my headset back on. And, we started a phone call. And before we got, well, right at the beginning of starting to get into what this appointment was for, I was like, hey, idiot, put your phone on speakerphone so your mom can hear what's going on. So I did that, but my mom did say she could hear a little bit about the beginning. But the first few moments was just her going over my files, verifying certain medications that I'm on, any, health issues that I have, and, just make sure she got everything that, cross her T's, dot her I's from information she got from the fertility clinic. So that's basically what the first few minutes of it for. Just, getting things up to date and current and making sure she got all her information correct. And if I needed to add something to let her know. So that's what we did. So, okay. So basically about the appointment, which is really no surprise. Is none at all, because I not recently, probably 2 or 3 years ago, I did get my high blood pressure medicine changed because of knowing that I do want to have a kid. Didn't know which route it was going to be to accomplish that, but I knew that. So my PCP at that time, I told her that. And I used to be on lisinopril and hydrochlorothiazide. Oh, I can't stand that hydrochlorothiazide. It makes you pee. Like, oh my goodness. I'm a truck driver, and if I knew I was going to kind of have a long route or I really wanted to get down the road without too many stops, I wouldn't take the hydrochlorothiazide. So, and it got to the point I just stopped taking all that together because it's disrupting my life. So my PCP was like, well, if you plan on getting pregnant, you definitely can't, be taking this like, you're pregnant. We're going to try to have to find you a different blood pressure medicine to be on, that's good for, pregnancy. Hold on. Come here. Because you nosy. Well, she ain't nosy. This is my little brat. She keep walking over here, and this is my little baby. But, all right. So, all right, lady. No. Okay, go lay down. So, okay. So we got the high blood pressure medicine changed to, I am on nifedipine 60 milligram, and then just think about this time last year, my blood pressure was doing some funky stuff. I need to get back on monitoring it because had my little notebook and was monitoring it or whatnot, because ultimately I was trying to go about it my own way to try to get myself off this blood pressure medicine, because ultimately that's my ultimate goal, is be done with the blood pressure medicine, prescription medicines anyway. So while I was trying to try different things and natural remedies and, changing and working on my diet better, I was wanting to monitor it, because anyone who has blood pressure and has had blood pressure for a while, when your blood pressure up, it's just the way you feel. You got a headache. I mean, you just know when it's usually up. But, so I was monitoring it. So I've had my blood pressure medicine changed for a few years now. And talking with the doctor today, the maternal fetal medicine doctor today, she did confirm, so I'm happy to hear that, I'm on the medication that I need to be on. And they do want me to stay on the medication throughout my pregnancy. And I did tell her that last year they added a second one, is chlorothiazide, which is another diuretic similar to hydrochlorothiazide. I don't know, how it works any different than hydrochlorothiazide. But I have noticed that it will make me pee often. Not as bad as hydrochlorothiazide, so I will say that. But I told this doctor, I said, I'm on this too, because she didn't have that on her list. So I'm on that too. But I'm like, tell you the truth, I really don't take it. I don't. And so, she asked me like, what my blood pressure been looking like. So I said, well, I've had, a few appointments, PCP, OBGYN, appointments like that, this year. And my numbers has been good. It's been, roughly like what did I say, like 127, in the 120s over like 84. She's like, okay, good. So she went over the blood pressure thing, that I'm gonna stay on the blood pressure meds, and that during my pregnancy they want my blood pressure not to go too far over 130 over 80. And she said that if it does go over 130 over 80, then they're gonna keep an eye on it, especially if it's staying consistent over that. Then they, gonna check on some things and see if they need to up the dose on my current blood pressure medicine, or if they need to add something else to it. So and then she also said that they want to do a heart ultrasound, which at the beginning of the phone call, she did ask, I forget what they call it. I forget what she called it, but it's pretty much an ultrasound with it keep trying to come to my, to the forefront, but it's not it. But so she's like, it's pretty much like taking images of your heart. And I was like, do you mean an EGK or EK? You know what I'm saying? I get the letters mixed up, but it's them three letters. It's either EKG or EGK, which I think is EKG. So she was like, no, it's similar to that, but, it's not quite that, the heart ultrasound is pretty much taking like a wand, like what you do an ultrasound with, and just checking my heart, and just, I guess, looking at the chambers and just seeing how everything is flowing and how it looks all together. So they did say that they do want to do a heart ultrasound and also EKG, just to monitor my heart, especially with me having blood pressure. I was diagnosed with blood pressure like when I was about 25. So I mean, just came out the blue. And yeah, I do have a family history on both mother and father side, so it could be genetics, because I do remember listening to a podcast. It was something that sometimes health problems are only genetic because of the way we eat. So like my parents, the way they eat, it just kept coming down the line. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of health issues, exist the way they do and are passed down, because the way we eat, like it's in our bodies, especially when our mothers are pregnant with us, the way, it's getting pushed off into the baby. But anywho, we're not going to get into all that. So, and then she also said that I'm not clear on this 24-hour urine, which I think is something that they want to check while I'm on my medicine, or if they have to change my medicine. But they definitely want to, do urine tests, just looking at for certain metabolites, if I'm saying that right. Don't judge me. But, just, protein, just the stuff that they check in your urine. They just want to check certain levels in that, that goes along with the pregnancy. And because they can, I guess, pick up things from that, learn things from that, And then, she did tell me, okay, so I think I wrote that down right. Okay, so she said people who has high blood pressure, they get pregnant, they're more prone to having preeclampsia. I've heard of it, and I'm not gonna say I'm familiar with it, but I'm not unfamiliar with it. I've done watched a lot of shows. I've heard about it. I just can't think off the top of my head exactly what goes on with the body. I want to say it's something with water retention or something. I don't know. I will do my research on this so I can get an absolute full understanding of what preeclampsia is and what to expect. But I mean, I've watched a lot of baby shows, and I recall hearing that, and I just can't remember exactly like what goes on with the body. But I will be doing a research on that, and then in one of my later videos, I'll cover that again. So for some of you that may not know what it is, or if you just like me and it's like, I've heard of it, I'm familiar with it, it's something that pregnant people get, throughout pregnancy. It's something that the body go through. And I think water retention, you may be just like me, like, but you can't really call exactly what it is. So we're going to get back on that. But so that's one thing that I am at risk for due to me just having high blood pressure is preeclampsia. And what else did she say about that? I mean, she was really good, pretty thorough with breaking down, everything that she basically could as far as, certain things for me to expect with, going through this IVF and getting pregnant. And but it can be, monitored and maintained, and some cases aren't as bad as others, and so on and so forth. And it can be a lot better with blood pressure being maintained. But yeah, so I'm gonna do some research on preeclampsia. And then she did state that in my second trimester, she is going to want me to take a baby aspirin every day, which baby aspirin's 81 milligrams. So to kind of help out with, the heart and the blood and, all of that good stuff. And it's not that harmful to the baby. Yeah, don't quote me on a lot of the ad libs in between. But yeah, so second try, I should have asked her, would that be something to go ahead and start? Because I was trying to get in the habit of taking baby aspirin daily just for heart health. So, but I will be doing that anyway. So, what else? Then she also stated, okay, so we went over the blood pressure. Okay, PCOS. I kind of have a history of PCOS. The reason why I say I kind of have a history because it hasn't been an issue or a situation where it just was consistent. Like I would get cysts on my ovaries, and back in my early 20s. I think that's another reason why I was having complications getting pregnant in my first marriage was PCOS. My period was crazy irregular. Like, oh my goodness. Like it was crazy, which I'm gonna do a story about that on another post. But finally went to the doctor and was like, what's going on? Because at that age I knew that you're having a period, that's good. You're ovulating, you're producing an egg. But when it's unpredictable with a period, it's complicated to get pregnant because, it's something going on. So, I finally went to the doctor and was like, hey, what's going on? So they sent me for a few tests. I think it's called I call it a vaginal ultrasound, but I believe it's really called a transvaginal ultrasound. They take the little ultrasound wand and put a condom on it and put some lube on it, and they insert it, and they check your inside, your female reproductive stuff from the inside. So, and then it was said that I have several small cysts on my left ovaries, which is common for women to get cysts on their ovaries because that's what the egg comes out of, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm saying that right. And they're supposed to naturally go down after the eggs release, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they can continue to grow and burst. And I've had one rupture a few years ago. It'll be in another post too. So basically what she's saying with a history of PCOS, that will put me in the zone to possibly deal with gestational diabetes, which I want to do research on that and really get down into the nitty gritty. I mean, I know what it is. I know it's like diabetes, like while you're pregnant. I've heard a lot of women, who are pregnant don't have diabetes before but while they're pregnant, they, end up getting diabetes. Then after they give birth, sometimes the diabetes go away. Sometimes the diabetes stay. But I will do research on that and include that in my pre-eclampsia video. Write that down. So that possibility comes with me having PCOS. So that's another risk that I could be facing. So we got to keep an eye on that. And then she said I have okay, yeah, we hit on that. Okay, so we did the blood pressure, PCOS. Okay, now fibroids. I do currently have fibroids. That's another reason that I'm constantly doing this frequent urination, and it drives me crazy. Oh my God. Some days are good and some days are worse than other days. Like, it's terrible. And like through this whole IVF process of getting imaging and all of that stuff, they were able to locate saying that I have, the IVF doctor said it could be 6 or 7, maybe 8. And the reason why she said that is because one, it could be one big one or it could be 2. She really can't tell because how close they are. And they are on my left side. And I went for a hydrosonogram, which I'll talk about that as well. But a hydrosonogram is a procedure that they do to test if your fallopian tubes are open. So, the conclusion of it is that my right one is open. My left one, they're not saying that it's not, because that is the side that my fibroids are on. And based on the hydrosonogram, they did discover and see, and even the IVF doctor, when she was checking, she said that it looked like they were outside of my uterus. But with the hydrosonogram, they do the wand inside the vagina to, get a better look at your tubes as they doing a procedure. And she stated too, she was like, it looks like your fibroids, that they're outside of your uterus. So the reason why my left one doesn't appear to be open is because it could be the fibroids, and because the fibroids are on the same side as my bladder. So that's what causes irritation to my bladder, which causes frequent urination a lot of the times. Because fibroids, I want to do more research on that, because I swear they do what they want. They act up. They really do. It's a trip. It's crazy. But anywho, so it could be that the fibroids are pushing on my uterus, which in turn is putting pressure on my left ovary. So it could be, pushing it closed. Not to say that it is closed, just putting pressure on it. So with the fibroids comes along with dealing with fetal growth syndrome, which I'll do research on that and do a post. So all these terms that I'm saying that the doctors tell me that I could be facing with my pregnancy, I will definitely do some research, and I'll do a post on all those terminologies and what to expect, and do a little deep dive into that. But basically, from what I can remember her stating, is that fetal growth syndrome is because of fibroids. And if you don't know too much about fibroids live and grow off your blood supply. So, and you're a woman, we have menstruals every month, so it's a lot of blood, a lot of, veins and all of that stuff that runs there. So they down there eating good. So what it does, and then when the placenta attaches to the uterus and all that, it's a lot of blood supply that's going, that the placenta is pulling in to feed the baby and support the baby and all of that stuff and help the baby grow. So with those fibroids, since they're feeding off the blood supply, it can kind of be challenging, that the placenta, like the baby and the fibroids is trying to feed off the placenta and, lessen the blood supply. So it can cause the baby to not grow. I'm trying to put my words right, because it sounds bad, but the way she broke it down, it was like, it's something to expect, but it's not like crazy dangerous. Like, it's not like, your baby's just not going to grow at all, but it's going to cause the baby not to have its full growth potential. There you go. Okay, yeah, that sounded good. So fetal growth syndrome it comes from fibroids, eating off the blood supply that the baby got to, live off of, and it can cause the baby to not grow to its full potential. However, this is me speaking in my thought. However, I think that since my fibroids are on the outside of my uterus, I think I may be okay, but it's something that they still gonna monitor. And she also did state, which I am also familiar with, that fibroids can, I forget the word that she used, but they can disintegrate. I guess it's not the word she used, but it's something like that. But during pregnancy, fibroids can disintegrate and they can go away. I've also heard that's why some women try to get pregnant early on to lessen their risk of fibroids or whatnot. But she did say in some cases that pregnancy can cause the fibroids to shrink or go away and, be fine. So that's something else we gotta watch out on. And so she did say that I will be under a lot of monitoring, which I already figured that. And she said, okay, she said 37 weeks is full term. Because I think a lot of women say they go 40, something like that. But, okay, so she said 37 weeks is full term. So at 32 weeks, I will be going from monthly observations and tests and all that to weekly, to check everything weekly. And like throughout the whole process, if they see something that isn't looking right or whatnot, that they would, do what they need to do to stay on top of it. But it's definitely gonna be a lot of monitoring, which it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good because pregnancy can cause, women to lose their lives or, loss of the baby or both. So, and then with my age and my health problem, that has been a concern for me. It is something that you have to think about and take in consideration. I mean, the youngest of the young who gets pregnant with a child and try to give birth, that can lead to death as well. It's always a risk having a baby, period. It's so much going on with the body, so much that can change and go. It's a lot. So my risks are even higher simply because of my age and also because of the health issues that I have. So, it has crossed my mind, like, when I go through this pregnancy and when I get to the end or get ready to give birth, try to get emotional. That something can happen to me. So, it's definitely something that has crossed my mind, and I do think about. But the only thing I could do is just, keep doing what I'm doing, keep praying, and just keep trying to be in the best health and mind space I possibly can. But it has been a thought, it still is a thought, and it needs to be a thought because you never know what's going to happen. So I'd rather be prepared for everything than not be prepared at all. So, I mean, that's part of it. And like I said, you can be the healthiest person in the world and, get pregnant and either, lose life or whatever the case may be. So, but ultimately, that is something that I'm willing to face. Like, if you guys really took the time out to really get to know me as, a person, who I am and how I am, you would know that there's nothing more I would want in this world than to birth my own child. I've been having a hand in raising kids since I was 11, and I want a piece of me left here, because when I'm gone, that's it. That's it. There's no more me trickling around in the world. So, but yeah, so that's basically how today's appointment went. Me and my mom had a good conversation over it. We went and we had a lunch together. It was really nice. And I was just breaking everything down to her as far as the whole IVF process, and she's amazed. I mean, she's more amazed than what I was. But whew, I knew it was gonna eventually be a video that kind of got me a little emotional. The last one that I posted, close to the end, I kind of felt myself trying to go there, but I was like, no. But yeah, this one definitely kind of got it up out of me a little bit, and I know there's gonna be more to come. You know, them emotions and them feelings, and I mean, this is definitely a very emotional process. I mean, like, it's a lot that's involved in it, like, for real. But I will get into some posts, really getting on that side of the fence of the emotions and the thoughts and the feelings and all of that behind all of this. And yeah, so we getting further down this journey. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's surreal. But anywho, I think I didn't spoke enough and got enough information out there. Got more to come, more to do. There's a lot of work to do. But with that being said, I need to get my ass some sleep so I can go to work tonight. I know it's gonna be a hard one. I'm already expecting it. The last 2 days is just, it's been rough just because of the time of sleep, having to, take care of certain things after I get off work. And ooh, excuse me, I kind of burped a little bit. But yeah, so I appreciate you for being here and being part of my journey. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I hope you like the video. If you do, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. If you got some questions or something that you want me to try to cover, definitely drop it off in the comments and I will try my best to cover it. And wow. Yeah, put your seatbelts on and hold on tight because it's about to be a ride for real. But yeah, it's your girl Maze. I'm out. Have a good Friday. Deuces.